Hey guys, so for today I really want to discuss Jackson's Diary. So it's a webtoon. Also, my lips are very chapped. Don't mind it. But today I really want to talk about Jackson's Diary. It's one of the only webtoons that I really like stay up to date with, and I pay for it, like the coins and stuff. I love Jackson's Diary, and I think I've been reading it ever since it was like released, like not on Canvas, but like when it first got to I forgot what it was called, but you have the other thing of webtoon instead of reading it. Stop it! Trying to fight with cats. Okay, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, and I really want to talk about it because there's this one thing that just always like makes me so mad, and it has nothing to do with the actual story. It's well, kind of, but it's mostly the fandom and how they villainize Jackson, but didn't really say anything when it came to Xer. Like, hear me out. So when Xer was bullying Jackson, like, I didn't really see people really sympathizing for Jackson. Well, they did, but it's like they mostly didn't really care. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, I wonder if this like if like he has powers or like they wasn't really talking about like the bullying and how it would further mess with Jackson. They were just like theorizing about whether or not Xer has powers or Jackson has powers or not. I'm like, okay, but it's like once when the roles were reversed, once Jackson finally retaliated and went to his villain era, like I like to call it his villain era, everyone starts to hate on Jackson. And it's honestly very annoying. Like I cannot believe this. Like, I stopped reading the comments on the webtoon because it was just very much shocking that people don't sympathize with Jackson. And they find it much easier to sympathize with Xer. And I just find that so, like, baffling. I'm using all these big words, but it's like, it's really shocking. Like, I can't believe this. Xer had no reason to bully Jackson. Y'all are just sympathizing with him because he's crying. He got beat up. Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. And David and him aren't talking. Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh. Like, y'all feel bad for him because of the effects of the aftermath of the fight and stuff. But y'all don't feel bad for Jackson just because he's finally retaliating and is angry. Because before, Jackson was angry, but he never really lashed out like Xer would. But once he does, it's a problem. I'm going to bring up like a few situations of where people think that Jackson was annoying and how I'm going to debunk that and basically be an apologist for him. Hold on. So I was watching this TikTok and it was saying how they find Jackson annoying because he did not have to kiss Brenda in spite of Xer. And okay, he didn't. That was bad on Jackson's part. But are we not going to act like we don't know why he did that to begin with? And let me explain why. So I'm pretty sure this happened in season 1 when Jackson was in a play or something with Brenda, and they were the main roles, and they were gonna kiss. So Xer's bitch ass was jealous, as he always is, and you know what he did? He kept making Jackson's life worse than it had to be. He was being mean to Jackson, kept like I don't really remember the specifics of what he was doing to Jackson when during the play, but all I know is that he was messing with Jackson, and obviously they got under Jackson's skin. So was this the better reaction? No, but Jackson stooped down to Xer's level and kissed Brenda in spite of Xer, and I'm pretty sure after that, Xer made Jackson pass out, which is scary, and he didn't deserve that. Like, okay, he kissed Brenda in spite of that, but like, did that make him deserving of passing out? No, no, it did not. Another instance of where people like to villainize Jackson for was not completely trusting Exer about Pamela. So there was this one part, I think it was season 2 or season 1. So Jackson saw Exer and Pamela talking, or heard that they were talking, and Jackson was literally, he lost it. He was so angry because he couldn't trust Exer. And you know why he couldn't trust Exer? Because Exer broke Jackson's trust more than once, bullied him, turned his friends against him. How could you not trust Exer? Like, how could you trust Exer after all of those things? I don't understand how people are calling him annoying for not trusting Exer, when personally me, I would not have trusted him either. I would have been freaking batshit crazy over Pamela and him talking too. I could care less. I really could care less. You know, Pamela sympathized with Exer, but Jackson, he could care less. And you know what? Me too, Jackson. Me too. I could care less too. But yeah, since Jackson is finally losing it, he's losing his trust on everybody, he's angry. Everyone's mad at him, and you know what? They don't blame the actual person that caused all this to begin with, which was Exer. And I always wonder why. Why do people sympathize with Exer more than Jackson? Jackson is the victim here. He was the one that was getting bullied. He was the one that reputation was getting altered by freaking Exer. He was the one that friends turned on him for no reason. So why? Why? Also, I like to add that literally Exer ruined things for Brenda and Jackson. And Jackson, in my opinion, I think Jackson, the reason why he was even more mad at Exer for talking to Pamela was that he didn't want him to ruin him and Pamela too. But anyways, yeah. I think the reason why people sympathize with Exer more than Jackson is because we see Exer finally feeling bad. Y'all feel bad for Exer because he's feeling bad about himself. And okay, and y'all see that him and David aren't friends anymore, and y'all ship David and Exer. Okay, but I don't see that how that changes anything that Exer did. Like I don't like. I can see him feeling bad. I can see him and David, and I just don't really care. I don't really care. I don't. Sorry. Like, personally me, if I was getting bullied, I would not care. Like, Exer is a bully and he's feeling bad for it, as he should. I don't care that the ship isn't sailing because him and David are having a problem right now. I don't care. I could care less. But yeah, that's it for Exer. I don't hate Exer. I used to hate him, but I just dislike him now because, you know, I sympathize with him. Not really. Like, okay, he was jealous of Exer, jealous of Jackson. Okay, but like, okay, like you don't have to do all that with your powers and stuff. Like, you knew what you were doing. Like, you weren't confused with your powers. You knew what you were doing when you were doing that to Jackson. So I don't want to hear it. Next is David and Ron. I'm gonna add both of them in one because I don't like both of them, and I hate David. I hate David more than I don't like Exer. I don't understand. He is the biggest Exer meat rider that I know. Like Ron, he's a meat rider, but David is a bigger meat rider because he had no reason to go along with bullying Jackson. Like, he just went along with whatever Exer was saying, and that's so annoying. Like, how do you like? And they knew what they were doing too. They all was bullying Jackson for no reason, only because Exer was. And I just don't like the behavior. I don't at all. You know, it's easier to sympathize with Exer because, you know, at least he knew what he was doing. He apologized and he felt bad for it afterwards. David and Ron, initially, they didn't feel bad for what they did. They were just mad at the situation as a whole. They didn't feel bad until Exer told them all what happened. So you're telling me that you were okay with bullying Jackson even though you didn't even have a valid reason to? Oh my gosh, bro. I cannot stand David nor Ron. I cannot take it. I can't stand them. It's so annoying. I just can't. I just cannot. I wanted Jackson to beat the freak out of David too, for jumping into the fight like that. Like, boy, you don't even know why we fighting to begin with. Like, their first instinct was to defend Xer, and they didn't think for 1 second that maybe our friend is the problem. Like, every single time something happened with Jackson, like he got accused for going to the girls' locker room, he was a pervert. Oh, like he got accused for doing things, his reputation would change. Like, it was all cleared up afterwards, but they still like I still don't understand their valid reason for not liking Jackson, other than beating the freak out of Xer, which he deserved. He deserved. He deserved. Brenda, I don't really have much to say about her. Like, I liked her in the beginning, and I remember she said something that made me annoyed, so I didn't like her after that. Like, I don't like her because solely because she's in association with the Reds. Like, I just don't like it at all. Like, they all saw Jackson being miserable and didn't think to say, "Hey, are you okay, Jackson?" Yeah, get the frick out of my face. Pamela, I like Pamela. She's really nice. She's the only one that I really like out of the situation. She sympathized with both Xer and Jackson and thought that they both were being idiots, which you're right, Pamela. They're both being dumb. More so Xer, but yeah. Yeah. I think that's it. Ooh, the detention kids. Okay. So honestly, I prefer the detention kids more than the freaking Reds. I can't stand the Reds, so I would prefer them to be friends with them. But one thing that I did not like about them was how they were saying how Jackson should apologize or stop being mad at them because it doesn't end the cycle, or like it's just two wrongs to make a right. And I'm like, okay, but Jackson isn't entitled to do anything. He doesn't have to accept their apology. He doesn't have to stop being mean to them. He doesn't have to stop doing anything. You know why? Because he was bullied for no reason. He doesn't have to do anything. And I just did not like that whole little speech about how, like, they're not breaking the cycle or whatever. Like, oh, okay, girl. Like, that made me mad. People in the comments who don't not like that either, which I like because finally y'all have common sense. Now for the latest chapter, Jackson accepting their apology. I like. You know, he had therapy. He really like started to like collect his thoughts, and I think that was really good for him. And accepting their apology might have healed something in Jackson. So, honestly, good for you, Jackson. I support you 100% of the way. 100% of the way. But how would I feel about Jackson as a whole? I love Jackson, even in his little villain era. Even though sometimes I thought he was doing too much, I still don't care because I'm a Jackson defender. I'm a Jackson meat rider. I do not care what he does because everything he does, like he doesn't even do anything, but when he does, it's just retaliation, in my opinion. So yeah, that's how I feel about Jackson's Diary. Mostly about Jackson and Xer and how you have villainized Jackson. And sympathize with Xer because of his little sob story. Oh, I was jealous. Oh, my friends were being taken away from me. Oh, I don't care. And I think y'all feel bad for more bad for Xer because him and David are now friends again, and they obviously like each other. It's like, oh my gosh, Jackson, don't ruin something so good for them. Don't ruin the goodness. Yeah, but Xer and David didn't seem to care about the goodness before, so I don't want to freaking hear it at all. But yeah, that was my TED Talk. I don't like Xer. I don't like David. I don't like Brenda. I don't like Ron. Simple as that. Especially you, Ron. You don't even say a freaking word. Like, you don't do anything. You don't say anything. But once it comes to meat riding Xer, it's, oh, Jackson. Nah, nah, nah. Like, y'all live in the same freaking roof. Get a grip. He's so annoying. But yeah, that's how I feel about the characters. And if they all become friends in the end, all's well that ends well. Like, like I don't like Xer, but like, if they end up being friends, so be it. But yeah, that was it.